Hello, this is Josh Belk with the Belk on Business podcast. Thank you once again for taking a few moments to listen in today. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the qualities that we probably should be looking for. And I know I try to when trying to bring on a new team member. And I think these are also qualities that we can evaluate on whether or not a team member is effective in working inside of our company. And so I've kind of just listed off four basic things. And I think most of these will be relatively comprehensive, but maybe things that we don't always think about, especially in the hiring process. And I know a lot through the years as I've kind of gone and sat in different rooms and talked to different people and have listened to different people. And there's a lot of testing, a lot of kind of analysis that's done as it relates to whether or not someone is going to be an effective team member, if they're going to fit in or not. And you can go through all those protocols, hire companies to help you. And I think all those things can be helpful and those things can be good when evaluating whether or not someone can be a good team member. But through my experience, and this really comes from being a business owner of a business we're professional services, it's an accounting firm, so it's really going to kind of come from that angle. But I think a lot of the qualities are going to be true whether or not you're running a small retail store, all the way up to a larger corporation. When you go through and you're evaluating your people, some things you may want to consider, and things that I definitely look for when going through and hiring and pick up on these. Do I feel that this person is going to have these types of qualities? And of course, anytime that we're going through the process of hiring someone, the very first thing we should be thinking about is this team member going to be one that's going to be able to help build and maintain the relationships that we have with our clients, and are they going to be able to build relationships with a new client that comes in? It doesn't matter if it's a customer coming in into our retail store or someone, if you're in an industry that you may have a longer term relationship with someone. I think this is true. Building that relationship, if it's a client coming into a retail store, what is that connection point? Are they able to do that? Are they able to help and serve the customer? Or if it's a longer term type of relationship, one that understanding this is going to be a regular communication process with the client. In either case, the most important component of any of our business is the people. It's going to be the relationships that we have with our clients, with our prospective clients, and then with our existing clients once we've gone through the process of onboarding them. So that's always going to be the main filter, I think, when we're going through evaluating a team member, is are they going to be effective at the relationship component, at building that relationship, or for bringing them on to work with us with existing relationships, with maintaining those relationships. Because without those relationships, I don't have a business. Okay, so the first thing I look for and I try to evaluate is whether or not this person is able to work both independently and collaboratively. So sometimes bring people in and they're great working by themselves, but they're not a good team player. Or those that they're really good at interacting with the team, but they just don't get any work done. Okay, they're not able to kind of just be by themselves and get something done. So one thing I look for is this person able to work independently? They're perfectly fine, kind of being on their own, getting the work done. They are self-disciplined. They're able to hold themselves in check, but also are they able to work well with others? And of course, anytime as your team grows, you're going to have people that have different strengths and weaknesses. So you're going to have some people that are really good at working with team, not as good on the individual level. They kind of need that support, and vice versa. And of course, those of us as business owners, we're going to kind of help support and fill in those those weaknesses, or maybe in those areas, maybe there's a little bit of a shortfall. But if they absolutely just horrible at working with other people, probably not going to be a good team member to bring on. And then vice versa, if they simply just can't sit down and be disciplined to get the work done if they need to, then they're probably not going to be an effective team member either, because all they're going to want to do is just kind of shoot the breeze and kind of just spend their time in more wasteful activities. So number one, are they able to work independently as well as collaboratively? Number two, are they do they have a mindset to where it's a team mindset before an individual mindset? And so I had a conversation with one of our newer employees earlier this week after hours, and kind of just wrapping things up for the day. And he and I were just kind of having a conversation. We're talking about kind of this employee versus employer mindset and some of what goes on. And I think as a business owner, I really try to help coach my team members as much as possible of what does it look like to think like the business owner? And how do we take a look at things? And that's really a mindset issue. As a team member, or as the business owner, when I look at my team members, I really want them to make sure that they're serving the needs of the client and each other primarily before their own personal needs. In the same breath, I also want that person to be also driven enough and care about themselves enough that they're also going to address those self-care issues both inside and outside of the professional environment. Okay, but they have that mindset of the team. What is best for the team? What is best for the business? What's best for the client before what is necessarily best for me? And what is it? The things if I just simply operated within my comfort zone, I wouldn't have a business. Okay, because we have to be able to sometimes step outside of our comfort zone. And am I okay doing that? And so I need to be okay doing that if I'm going to be effective as a team member within the work environment. So are they able to be supportive and involved with the development of the whole as well as the self? So when we talk about the professional development piece, are they able to help be a piece in the development of the team as a whole to move the business forward, as well as be willing to invest the time in developing themselves and who they should be as well? Because most of the time, of course, when you bring somebody on, everybody thinks, okay, well, what to pay, what's the benefit, that type of thing. But for most people, when they get into a business environment, they're looking for two things primarily, besides just the money and all that. Is there a sense of belonging? Am I going to fit in here? And then number two, is this a place where I can grow? I can grow as an individual, and I can also be in a place where the business is also growing in a positive way. And so if you have those two elements in place, and you're able to let them know this is a place that you can grow, this is a place where you can really find a sense of belonging, but also it's really going to require some of your effort to also making sure that you're growing as an individual. Otherwise, you're not going to be very effective in being a part of a business that has a growth and belonging mindset as part of its culture as it relates to the treatment of team members. Next, are they comfortable working in the gray areas? So are they able to be okay working in a place sometimes of ambiguity? So it's kind of one of those things. Sometimes you bring people on and you find out they can follow a process. But you go through and so much is talked about process. You have a process. You need to do this. It's kind of one of those things that's fine. You should have processes. You should have systems. Okay. However, a lot of business is done outside of those processes where you kind of in an area to where it's a gray area, and you're going to have to be able to think and logic through a process. So, because literally I can train anything, and especially with this trend toward technology, to where a lot of that process stuff is going to be done, is not going to be done by humans. And so we really need to have team members that can really think. Are they able to be okay working to where something is not exactly fits within a process? And are they able to think through issues? Do they have a little bit of common sense? And are they able to apply logic to situation to come up with results? For the client, for the customer that serves them the best. So, are they comfortable working in the gray areas, and are they resilient? Lastly, are they effective at managing stress? And Monday here inside of my firm, we kind of had a rough day. It was a very stressful day. We had lost a couple clients, had some issues with fellow team members. It was just a really really rough day. And occasionally that's going to happen in business. So you're gonna have these days, maybe once a week, maybe once a month, whatever the case may be, where just things just don't go right. And in the business environment can become really, really stressful. And I remember at the kind of at the end of the day, and I'm kind of going through and I'm doing a little bit of journaling at the end of the day, making some notes. And I had texted kind of my right hand person inside of my business, and I had mentioned that this was a really tough day, and I felt that the team was really stressed, and we need to find a way to go about just kind of hitting a little bit of a reset button. How do we go about doing it? And we had a conversation, and we decided to implement a couple things to kind of making sure that we're okay in managing the stress going forward. So when I'm looking at team members, are they able to handle stress, or are they going to crack under the pressure? And so, because if they aren't going to effectively handle the stress, they're going to become toxic inside the culture. They're going to end up saying the things to customers they shouldn't say. They're going to say things to team members they shouldn't say. They're going to lash out. They're going to end up in a position of anger or aloofness, or just simply being absent inside of the business, simply because they aren't able to manage stress well. So, are they able to manage? Are they able to manage stress? So, the four areas that I look look at primarily, and maybe you consider looking at one or more of these as well as you're going through either bringing on team members or evaluating team members. Are they able to work independently and collaboratively? Do they have a team mindset above just purely an individual mindset? Do they care about the team more than just their own individual desires? Are they comfortable working in the gray areas? Are they resilient? Are they comfortable with ambiguity? And then lastly, are they able to manage stress well? And if they're able to do those all these four things, they're going to be a really good team member inside of your business. As I found that the individuals that have had these qualities, that they are very effective team members. Once again, this is Josh Belk with Belk on Business Podcast. Hopefully this particular podcast brought you some value. You found some help inside of this particular podcast. Would love for you to subscribe if you haven't already. Have a wonderful day.